breakdowns and official predictions for UFC Fight Night Serbia, Uros Medic versus Daniel Rodriguez. Starting off with the first fight of the night, which is Marina Spasic versus Stephanie Luciano. And in this fight, I'll be picking Stephanie Luciano. Marina Spasic is making her debut. She's doing that because she's a Serbian woman, even though she looks like she's a Nigerian woman in this picture, obviously. But she just joking, obviously. But she's making her debut on this card because she's a Serbian woman, and to be honest, they didn't really have a lot of Serbian talent other than like Uros Medic, who called for this card. So I think they kind of had to import a bunch of Serbians real quick, some Serbs. So, I mean, she's got a pretty good record, but Stephanie Luciano, like a tiny bit more experience, 2 more fights, one being a draw and one being a loss. But she's the bigger person, 2 inches in height. They don't have her reach, but she's just bigger in general. And I believe in this fight, she'll just implement the grappling and be bigger that way and use that to get herself to a win. She's obviously from Brazil, so she's got pretty good jiu-jitsu, and she'll use that jiu-jitsu, I believe, to get to a unanimous decision win. 30-27, possibly 29-28. Maybe Spasic gives her some trouble early on, but I think she's just going to be able to sort of outstrength her and be the bigger girl and just win this fight. So for the first fight of the night, I would predict Stephanie Luciano to win by decision. On to the next fight of the night, which is Jovan Leka. Oh my god, why does it keep fucking doing this, man? Jovan Leka versus Alexander Popek. So in this fight, I'll be picking Jovan Leka because let me just start off with this. I believe Popek is a light heavyweight. Let me go ahead and check that really quick. But I'm pretty sure this guy's just a light heavyweight coming in on short notice for this fight. Let's see. Oh yeah, it shows it right here. He's a light heavyweight. Sorry, I was being a little dumb there. But so obviously the size advantage is on Leka's side. I mean, not much in height, a little bit in reach, but I mean, this is a heavyweight versus a light heavyweight. Even if he's only an inch taller, this is going to be a little bit tough for Popek, and I believe on short notice. Popek has a pretty good record, a lot more experience, 27 fights versus 15 on Leka's side, but Leka is, I believe, he's a pretty good boxer, and I've seen Popek sort of struggle with boxers, and he struggles with front kicks, and Leka employs a front kick pretty well. So I think he'll win by, I'd say, a second round knockout. I don't know. This is a light heavyweight going up against a heavyweight on short notice. I don't think that's really a great matchup. And maybe he could come in here being a light heavyweight and just lighter man skill him. We see the light heavyweights do that a lot, but usually those are also the good light heavyweights. This guy's kind of just unranked light heavyweight. It's not like other light heavyweights we've seen, ranked light heavyweights we've seen have success. So I don't believe that he's going to have success. I believe Leka will use his boxing, use those front kicks, and get a second round TKO. So that would be my prediction for this fight. Jovan Leka by second round TKO. Going on to the next fight of the night, which is Nina Milosevic. Oh my god, if this keeps doing this, dude. Nino Milosevic versus Haley Cohen. So Nino Milosevic making her debut. She's an unlockable character right now. You know, I wanted to pick Cohen because as a 0 foot tall person going versus 5'8", 1 pound versus 136, 0 inches versus 67. Sorry, bringing back memories there. 0 versus 40 inches. So, no, obviously, UFC is like $1 billion company. I don't know how they can't update this stuff before the event, but she's an unlockable character, and she's 0 feet tall. So, but she's actually pretty good. So I'm gonna be picking her. You know, they want to set up the Serbians to win on the Serbian card, just like they want to set up the Muslim guys to win on the Abu Dhabi cards, like we saw last week. So I believe she'll win. I believe she, I was joking about the 0 foot tall, but she is kind of the smaller girl in this matchup. So Haley Cohen's going to probably try to go out there and sort of just blob her, which she could possibly do. She's pretty big. I mean, 5'8" at bantamweight for a woman's pretty big. But I just believe Nina Milicevic will be able to defend that grappling, get away from the blobness of Haley Cohen, not be able to just be smushed. And when she gets up, I think she'll just out-damage her. And possibly leading to a finish, maybe a third-round finish, but I'm going to be in women's MMA, it'll probably be something goofy, and it'll go to the decision. So I would predict Nino Milicevic to win by decision, but also possibly like a late third-round KO. So yeah, that's my prediction for this fight, is Haley Cohen by decision, or not Haley Cohen, sorry, Nina Milicevic by decision, or maybe a third round late KO. On to the next fight of the night, which is my boy Mateusz Rebecki versus, oh my god, dude, the UFC website, I'm literally going to sue you, bro. Mateusz Rebecki, half cut off, versus Kyle Prepolek. I am a big fan of Mateusz Rebecki. I believe it was his debut live. He fought I forget the guy, it was like a random Muslim Dagestani sort of dude, and he beat the crap out of him with leg kicks, got him to the point where he couldn't stand, then just bombed him with an overhand, and the fight was done. It was awesome. I mean, he's been in a lot of wars, a lot of awesome fights. He's a cool dude. I like him. He's one of the random unranked fighters that I'm just a big fan of. We all have our random unranked fighter we're a big fan of, and he is mine. So, but I will actually be predicting him to win this fight. This is not like, and hopefully he doesn't do me like Dustin Jacoby did. I knew I should have picked against him, but I liked him too much. But Mateusz Rebecki, I believe, will actually win this fight, and he's a huge favorite in this fight. Yeah, minus 650. That's pretty crazy, but I think it's one of the cases where it's actually fair. I mean, Kyle Prepolek, I don't think he's all that good. He's already hit the Brazilian 10, 18-10 is kind of a crazy record. And they kind of brought him in just to kind of be a punching bag. They pretty much used him for BSD to get BSD a free win after a tough couple of losses to build him back up. Kind of did the same thing with Prepolek to Drew Dober. Even though, to be fair, Prepolek was doing good in that fight, but still got KO'd. So yeah, I don't think he's gonna win this one. He's Canadian. They're not, since GSP, they're not the best fighters. They're not the toughest of guys. But Rebecki, he's just gonna get on the inside. He's the smaller fighter, 5'7" versus 5'10". He's gonna get on the inside, be throwing big overhands. He can take this fight to the ground if he needs to. We saw BSD dominate Prepolek on the ground, get that arm triangle pretty easily. And Rebecki is a very good wrestler and could also do that if he wants to. But I think he's just going to get under the punches of Prepolek, get on the inside, and probably land a very big overhand. And I think he's going to get this fight done quick. I would predict it to be done in the first round. I'm going to go with knockout, but there is a world where he takes him down and maybe does something there. I don't think he's as good of a submission guy as BSD is, but he could take him down. But I think this will be a first round overhand knockout by Mateusz Rebecki. I hope. Those leg kicks will also be pretty useful for him here. Prepolek doesn't, those legs are looking pretty easy to chew up. So, chew up the legs, get on the inside, throw a huge overhand in the fight. And hopefully Rebecki wins, because in his last fight, it was hard to watch as a fan of him, because he made some really dumb decisions. I don't know why he kept clinching up with, what's his name? I can't remember his name now. Grant Dawson. Every time they were on the feet, Rebecca would rock him really badly. It's like he almost had him. It was either first or second round. He almost had him KO'd. I don't know why he would grapple and give Grant Dawson a chance to survive, and then not only that, a chance to grapple with him, and he's the better grappler and win. If he had just stayed on the feet, he would have definitely knocked Grant Dawson out. He's got like a glass chin. And in the second round, he came out and he was like throwing jumping kicks and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, he's going to get knocked out brutally. So, as long as Rebecki isn't dumb like that, he'll definitely win this fight. And even if he is dumb, like Grant Dawson's at least a good fighter, ranked fighter. Prepolek's kind of a guy they're using to get guys free wins. So, I think that's what this will be, is a free win. Round 1 knockout. So, Rebecki, you better win this, because if I'm saying it's a free win for you and you lose, that's not good. But I think he will. That's why he's a huge favorite. So, I'm going with Mateusz Rebecki by first round KO overhand. On to the next fight of the night, which is it seriously going to do this for every fight, man? This is really getting annoying. Denis Bazooka versus Bogdan Grad. Bogdan Grad actually coming in with some hair this fight. Dyed blonde and a mustache, not this little egghead guy. He looks crazy bald. The hair, he should definitely keep it. And I think he's going to win this fight, you know. Denis Bazooka, his chin is really a question right about now. I mean, he got really badly knocked out in his last fight. Not that long ago either. Not all that long ago. And in this fight, it's going to be a kind of a striker versus grappler matchup. Bogdan Grad is going to be trying to take him down and win by grappling, whereas Denis Bazooka is going to be the striker. But the thing is, I can't trust Bazooka's chin. So if there's a fight where one guy's a striker versus a grappler, and I'm worried for the striker because he on the feet because of how bad his chin is, that's not going to be a good thing, man. Like I could see a world where Bogdan Grad, even though he's trying to come in here and grapple him, knocks him out just because Bazooka's chin is a little bit of worry. I mean, that left hook was one of the craziest best knockouts of the year. And that was April 18th. That was not that long ago, man, for such a vicious knockout. Like, he got laid out bad. So, I just think Bogdan Grad will come in and grapple him. I would say he will win by decision, but, I mean, Denis Bazooka, he's the striker, and he's just not going to be safe on the feet because his chin is really a worry. He's been knocked out quite a few times now, so Bogdan Grad should be uncomfortable on the feet with the striker and the striker versus grappler matchup, but he's not going to be because, I mean, even though he's probably not as good of a striker as Denis Bazooka, he could rock him and hurt him bad and possibly knock him out. But so I think Bogdan Grad will win. To be fair, Denis Bazooka could come in here with some really good defensive grappling. He trains at the same team as Aljo and Merab, so he could come in here and defend the takedowns well. But like I said, I still think Bogdan Grad will out damage him on the feet. And so I just think any way this fight goes, Bogdan Grad will win. Even if not the prettiest looking fight, he can rock him. He should take him down and win by that. So I'm picking Bogdan Grad by decision. And on to the next fight of the night, which is, there we go. Oh my god, dude. It's never done this before. It's really getting annoying. Borislav Nikolic versus Mark Vologdan. This dude, he looks like a little kid that's going to ask me for a lollipop. I don't know. He looks kind of weird. I don't know. But I think I'm going to be picking Borislav Nikolic in this fight. I mean, Mark Vologdan, he's alright. But I just think Borislav is better. And that's why I'm going to be picking him in this fight. I mean, I'm trying to look up their records really quick. I mean, Borislav has a way better record, 16-2 versus 12-4-2. He's a lot bigger, dude. 5'9" at bantamweight versus 5'3". That's crazy. So yeah, that definitely makes me think he's gonna win. And a lot of KOs on his record. I mean, Mark Vologdan's not bad, but he's a lot smaller in this matchup. And in the UFC, he's not done too well. I mean, he lost on the Contender Series, but it was a good enough fight to get him in. Went to a draw against John Castaneda, which John Castaneda is okay, I guess, but I mean, the level of competition that he's facing, Mark Vologdan, and not really doing well against, I just think Borislav will win this. Mark Vologdan will probably come in and try to wrestle him, but I just don't see him being effective with the wrestling, and I'd say Nikolic is probably going to knock him out. Round 1, maybe 2. Maybe Vologdan can survive. But yeah, that would be my predictions. Vologdan seems like a cool dude, but I think he's going to get knocked down in this fight. So that's my prediction. Nikolic by round 1, maybe round 2 knockout. On to the next fight of the night. Why does it do this, man? Which is Oban Elliott, the Welshman himself, versus Michael Oliveira. And it sucks to say, but Oban, after this fight, is probably done in the UFC. I mean, how many losses is it in a row for Oban Elliott? I feel like he was undefeated coming into the UFC. And now he is not very undefeated. And this, I believe, will be another loss, and probably going to be a pretty bad loss as well. Let's see how many losses in a row. Okay, only 2. That's not that bad, I guess. But I guess he had 2 losses coming in the UFC already. But I mean, a 3-fight losing streak is not going to be good. Maybe he won't be completely done, but a 12-5 record, 3-fight losing streak, not great. I mean, Michael Oliveira, this guy's going to be a pretty scary prospect. He's a big guy, pretty athletic. Holy, what a reach advantage. 6.5 inches reach advantage. That's going to be really helpful in this matchup and not going to be good for Oban Elliott. This guy, Michael Oliveira, has crazy power. And the thing is, he doesn't just, a lot of guys with crazy power, they don't have to be the best, especially if you're athletic, crazy power, you don't have to be the best striker. You can kind of just be like a tard and just run at dudes, and you'll still probably knock them out. Maybe once you get to an upper echelon of fighters, they'll be able to counter that, but it's going to work against the lower level guys. But Michael Oliveira, he's pretty patient. He goes out there, sits out with his jab, throws a jab a lot, which is going to be a good weapon with a 6.5 inch reach advantage in this fight. But he doesn't just run at dudes. He sets stuff up with his jab, and a lot of the times pulls people in by getting them to counter, and then counters that and just KOs them bad. So I could see that happening in this fight. Michael Oliveira goes out there. He's a little bit taller, but huge reach advantage. Just throwing the jab out on Oban Elliott, damaging him up with that. And then he eventually gets him to step in and throw something and just counters him really bad and KOs him. So, I mean, it's a tough one. I feel bad for Oban Elliott. They keep giving him pretty tough guys. But I'm going to be picking Michael Oliveira by round 1 KO. On to the next fight of the night. What is wrong with the website, man? Why does it keep doing that? Ludwig Klein versus Tofik Musayev. I want Tofik Musayev to lose because he is a horrible cheater. We saw that in his last fight versus Ignacio Bahamondes. He stole the win by grabbing the cage. Bahamondes had him hurt very badly in the second round. went for a takedown. He grabbed the cage. And if Bahamondes had gotten that takedown, he probably would have finished him. And if not, he would have definitely won the round and would have been up 2-1. But Taufik Musayev grabs the cage, eventually doesn't get taken down, eventually ends up shooting a takedown Bahamondes. Bahamondes goes for a guillotine, and then Musayev gets on top and just elbows the crap out of him, wins the round because of it, has him bleeding all over the place, and then does that for the third round too. So, I don't want to see a guy who won his debut in the UFC by cheating win again. And I don't think he'll win. I think Ludwig Klein is very good, very underrated. A little shorter than him, but bigger in both arm reach and leg reach. And Ludwig Klein is a pretty slick striker. And I think he'll have success with some of the same weapons that Ignacio Bahamondes had weapons with. Not all the crazy kicks that Bahamondes can land because he's like 6'3", obviously. But a weapon I see Klein having a lot of success with this matchup is the 1-2. And as the guy with the longer reach in this matchup, that'll work pretty well for him. And he usually has a success with the 1-2 in his fights. And we saw Bahamondes have a lot of success with the 1-2 versus Taufik Musayev. And so I believe Klein will be able to have success with that. And I don't think Musayev will be able to take Klein down super easily and just elbow the crap out of him like he did to Bahamondes. Klein has gone against better wrestlers than Taufik Musayev, and like Mateus Gamrot, and he fared pretty well against him. So I don't think Musayev is going to be able to take advantage of his grappling at all. And I think this will be a striking matchup, pretty much. And I see Klein winning that. I don't think it will be by KO, but I think it will be by decision. So I would pick Ludwig Klein by decision in this matchup. And on to the next fight of the night. On to the main card as well. Oh my god. Milos Janicic versus Noah Gugnan. I think I said those names right. But I'm going to be honest, don't know a whole lot about both these guys. A lot of these guys are like unknown guys making their debut who are either from Serbia or are around there. So I'm kind of just going off their Tapology pages here. But I think Milos Janicic has a lot more experience than Noah Gugnan. He's like 19-3. All his wins are by finishes also, I'm pretty sure. While Noah Gugnan's only 9-2. He's actually the slight favorite in this fight. I don't know why they're not showing where Milos Janicic is from. I believe he's from somewhere around Serbia, though. Oh my god, dude. But I'm going to pick Milos Janicic to win this fight. Again, this one I'm not like certain on because I don't know these guys very well. But he's just got a lot more experience. 22 fights versus 11. Literally double the experience. And actually, man, I don't know. He's just... You know what? I'm going to go with Noah Gugnan, actually. I'm looking at Milos Janicic's record, and he doesn't seem as focused on MMA. He's doing random custom rules fights. He's fighting in kickboxing, and he's winning, and he's doing well, but he's just not very focused on MMA. Also, I don't know, Gugnan has he's fought a lot of good opponents, actually. His losses are to guys with really good opponents as well. You know what? Yeah, I'll pick Gugnan. I don't know. There's not much to break down. These guys are both making their debut. I don't know them. But I'll pick Noah Gugnan to win this fight by decision. On to the next fight of the night. Oh my god, man. I hope the UFC website doesn't do this for the next card. Vlasto Seppo versus Gilbert Urbina. I think I'm going to pick Vlasto Seppo by knockout, even though I've seen some of his tape, and he's not the greatest fighter ever. He kind of just runs at dudes and throws hooks, but Gilbert Urbina's coming off 2 knockout losses. And I think there's going to be another one. But to be fair, Gilbert Urbina could win this. It wouldn't be a bad underdog bet to put some money on, but I think Vlasto Seppo is just the safer pick, and I would say probably by knockout. He's just going to go out there throwing big meaty hooks, and if he lands on Gilbert Urbina coming off 2 KO losses, he should be able to knock him out as well. So I'm going to go with Vlasto Seppo by first round knockout. Going on to the next fight of the night, which is, oh my god, that's not what I meant to do. Dusko Todorovic versus Robert Valentin. Oh my. But I believe Robert Valentin will win this fight. I believe he's a way more dynamic striker in this matchup, and a little bit bigger reach, a little bit bigger leg reach. And I think that'll help him being the better, more dynamic striker. I also believe he's a better grappler. I believe if Dusko Todorovic tries to implement any sort of grappling, I could see Robert Valentin going for a guillotine or something like that and ending up on top, maybe even finishing the guillotine. But if not, getting on top with it and doing ground and pound. I could see him rocking Todorovic and then going to a rear naked choke once he has him hurt. I don't know. I just believe Robert Valentin is the better fighter in a lot of the aspects in this fight. I believe he's a pretty good middleweight. I don't think he'll be ranked or anything, but he just had a tough go of it in the UFC. He's been fed to a lot of up-and-coming prospects, so I believe he's better than his record shows. If he'd gone against people that were as good as him, he would probably have won a lot more, but they've been, they put him up against, what's his name, the African guy that's killing everybody. So he's just kind of been fed to some people unfairly on his part. But I believe he'll win this fight by either, I'll go second round submission. I think he'll rock him and then eventually end up submitting him. So Robert Valentin by second round submission. He feels him out for the first round, hurts him in the second, then submits him after. That's my prediction. On to the next fight of the night, which is Alexander Rakic versus Marcin Tybura. I mean, if Alexander Rakic does not win this is going to be pretty bad. I think he's like 1-4 or something in his. Let's see. What's his record in his past couple fights? Loss. Yeah, so his last win was 2021. To be fair,
Travis, your food's on the stove.
He would have had probably another fight had he not blown his ACL out in this fight, but that is crazy. He has not won a fight since 2021. That is pretty bad. So this is definitely a must-win for Alexander Rakic in this fight. The fight is now loading. But I believe, Jesus Christ, I believe he will win this fight. Marcin Tybura is a ranked level heavyweight. He beats the kind of blobs that are never going to be ranked fighters. He's good enough to do that, but Rakic is a light heavyweight, and he's what I talked about while I was breaking down the Popek guy. He's a good ranked light heavyweight, even though he's lost a couple. He's only lost to like the best, and then Mirzakhanov, not the best, but pretty good striker, so not the worst. He's a good, skilled light heavyweight, and going up to heavyweight, having that lighter man skill already, and the fact that you were good enough to be a ranked light heavyweight, you're going to beat a guy who, Marcin Tybura is like number 13 ranked in the UFC heavyweight division. He's a bottom feeder. He beats up guys who would never become ranked. When somebody like Tyrell Fortune comes in on short notice and is like decently athletic and decently skilled, he wins against Tybura. So I believe Rakic will just stay on the outside, land a bunch of leg kicks, land a bunch of kicks. He's a little bit bigger in this matchup, at least in height, not in anything else. And he could probably even implement grappling if he really wants to. I mean, Tybura's got pretty good grappling, but he's submitting guys like Tai Tuivasa, where it's like the definition of a blob, you know. Rakic actually has a six-pack. He could come in here, even if Tybura is maybe the stronger grappler, and just outskill him in that aspect. And I think this is just what that fight's going to be, an outskilling. I don't think it's going to look good for Tybura. I think he's really going to be, we're going to be like, oh my God, how is this guy ever ranked? This guy's could only be ranked at heavyweight. I think if Rakic gets KO'd or submitted in this fight, it's like career over, buddy. But I think he should win this one. And I kind of hope he does. He's had a rough go of things. So I would pick Alexander Rakic by decision. Maybe he could KO him, but he really hasn't gotten a KO in a while. So I'll pick Alexander Rakic by decision over Marcin Tybura. Going on to the co-main event. Jan Blachowicz versus Navajo Sterling. And I just want to say, I really hope Jan Blachowicz wins this fight. Another guy who's had a rough couple fights, but it's different from Rakic, whereas his are just actual losses. Jan Blachowicz, arguably, I could have won a bunch of his fights. I saw a thing on verdicts that if they went by the verdict scorecards, which is scored by the MMA fans, that he would be 3-1 in his last 4, which is just insane. I mean, a lot of people thought he won against Guskov. It shouldn't have been a draw. A lot of people thought he could have won against Carlos Ulberg. I did too. I thought both those fights he should have won. A lot of people thought he won against Pereira. I wouldn't say he did. I thought Pereira won it, just edged it out just a little. Arguably, he could have won versus Ankalaev. I mean, he was kind of dumb in that fight. I don't know why you have a guy who every time you touch his legs, he has to switch stances. Both his legs are dead. I don't know why he didn't shoot a takedown. Ankalaev would not have been able to defend it, but I think that fight was fair to be a draw, but you could have given it to Blachowicz. But so yeah, rough go of things. Unlucky with the judges recently. I saw him say he can't let this go to the judges, which, yeah, no. But I'm very worried about this fight. Navajo Sterling could come here and win, but I think Jan Blachowicz should win. Obviously, he's getting pretty old. I don't know if they have his age. I think he's 42, 43 maybe. But his age has never really affected him. I mean, he reached his peak when he was kind of already old, when he was like late 30s, is when he won the title and when he beat Adesanya and went on that legendary, Polish power run. So he's never really let the age affect him, even after injuries. He's coming off an injury in this fight. He's never really came back and just looked terrible. I mean, his style isn't super crazy athletic. He kind of fights like an old man. He trudges into range. And I think he'll do that in this fight. I think he'll trudge into his old man Polish boxing, trudge into range and land shots. I think his kicks will work well, body kicks. The leg kicks are going to work very well. Navajo Sterling, like all the CKB guys, really goes ham with the leg kicks, really targets the legs. But Jan Blachowicz, I believe they said he has the densest leg bones in the UFC. It's like him and Justin Gaethje. I mean, we saw what he did to Ankalaev with the leg kicks. Had him, every time he'd touch him to the legs, he would do a full spin. His legs were completely dead. So I think those leg kicks will work well in this matchup. Also, I think he could do well with the wrestling, to be completely honest. I mean, we saw him in his fight with Pereira take down Pereira, take his back for the whole first round. And even in the third round, when he was tired at elevation in Salt Lake City, take him down at the end of the third, which is why people thought he could have won that fight. And we saw Navajo Sterling getting taken down by Ion Cutelaba, who is not as good of a wrestler as Jan Blachowicz, even though Jan Blachowicz is old, so maybe his shots aren't athletic, or maybe he's not as strong as anymore. But again, we've never really seen his age affect him so far. So I think the leg kicks, the kicks to the body, the trudging in boxing style, and the wrestling should be enough to beat Navajo Sterling. And Navajo Sterling's not like a guy who's is a big threat of power. This is not not Carlos Prates, sorry. What's his name? I can't even remember the champion at light heavyweight's name. Carlos Olberg, sorry, he's so boring, I forgot his name. Who Jan Blachowicz fought and arguably won. At least Carlos Olberg has a very serious threat of power with that left hook. Navajo Sterling's a guy who mainly goes to decision. I mean, his last two finishes were both just ground and pound, not like he knocked somebody out viciously and then followed up with ground and pound. They were just, the guy wasn't defending himself and the ref had to step in. So Jan Blachowicz can kind of trudge in with less to worry about than he had to with Carlos Olberg. And Navajo Sterling and Carlos Olberg are sort of similar. So he's trained for somebody at the same gym that's sort of similar, but also Navajo Sterling has a teammate that's trained for him that's just the same opponent. So I guess it goes both ways, but I believe Jan Blachowicz will win this fight. I hope he does, because if he loses, that's kind of rough. Number 4 ranked versus an unranked guy. Navajo Sterling are also coming in on short notice, so that's another thing for Jan that should help him. So I hope legendary Polish Power comes out and wins this fight. And I'm predicting him to win. I'm going to predict Jan Blachowicz by decision. Going on to the main event, Uros Medic versus Daniel D-Rod Rodriguez. This should be a pretty fun fight while it lasts. I don't think it's going to last all that long, to be completely honest. Both these guys are going to be standing up there. Neither of them are going to attempt to take down. And I think Medic will win by KO, probably first or second round. I mean, Daniel Rodriguez, he's a good boxer. Both these guys southpaws, so Daniel Rodriguez should have more success with the jab against another southpaw than he has against orthodox fighters. But he's a good boxer, but he doesn't have like insane power. I know he rocked Kevin Holland, which is kind of crazy. Dropped Kevin Holland because Kevin Holland is like impossible to drop or knock out, so that was kind of crazy. But I think that was just a really awful performance by Kevin Holland. I was really upset with that. And I think if they did do the rematch they're talking about, Kevin Holland should win it, hopefully pretty easily. But I mean, also another factor, one of the craziest storylines we've ever seen, Daniel Rodriguez, after winning his fight against Kevin Holland, celebrated in Mexico for some reason, even though the fight was in Louisiana. Got caught with weed, and for 8 months has been in a Mexican prison. He's like just getting out for this fight. Not just getting out like a week ago, but he got out and then he accepted this fight. I mean, that is insane. And also, I feel like that should definitely go into my prediction. I know there was videos of him hitting mitts in prison, but Uros Medic has been training in an actual MMA gym with professional coaches and sparring partners. This guy has been in prison for 8 months in Mexico. So, I think Uros Medic, obviously the power, way more on his side. I mean, he knocked out Jeff Neal, had his boogers flying out. Daniel Rodriguez, I don't believe, has that same type of power. So, I believe Medic will win. Both southpaws. To be fair, Medic does back out in a straight line. Rodriguez could catch him on that. But even if he does, I don't think he has the power to put him out or really capitalize on it. I think if Daniel Rodriguez makes any sort of mistake in this fight, Medic should knock him out pretty bad. And that's my prediction. I'm going to go with Uros Medic by round 1 KO. Those are my predictions for this card. If you like the videos and want more, Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.